Attribution for some people is a frustration, for others it's a great unknown, and for just a select few it's a topic that makes grown men cry. Indeed, attribution can be tricky, is often misunderstood, and frustrates people because it can become a complex beast. But getting to grips with it is time well invested on your part. Not only will it make you look clever, it's a very powerful tool to use in your business too. I'm going to walk you through an introduction to the moving parts and the ideas around attribution, including the different model types, and just to keep you on your toes, the difference between attribution in AdWords and analytics, and how we improve the default setup. First then, the why behind why we need attribution. Here's a famous quote that illustrates the point and still holds true some 100 years later. Half the money I spend on advertising is wasted. The trouble is, I don't know which half. This is a famous quote from John Wanamaker, 19th century marketeer, I believe. The fact is, with the current state of technology, we still don't know the real answer to that, but we can close the gap on the full picture. That's where attribution comes into play. So it allows you to attribute a monetary value to every piece of marketing you do, allowing you to accurately measure the value of your efforts in terms of the money you spend, i.e. your business risk, versus the money you make, your reward, which could be your business reward, your marketing team's reward, salesperson, and so on and so forth. It does it objectively too, and that's quite important. So when it comes to business and marketing and sales, your gut can take you only so far. Understanding the attribution and being empowered to be objective enables you to plan your budget allocation and optimize it to get the very maximum impact from each marketing channel and marketing activity you do. But first, a few things to be aware of. So before we start looking at models and going deeper, we need to understand the reason they exist in the first place. In the world of analytics, LastClick Attribution has reigned king for far too long. So LastClick is the default attribution we find in Google Analytics, and to be honest, most analytics tools out there. Looking at our data, we are therefore led to believe that the last touch is the winner by default, when the reality is more like many touches over many devices over time before the conversion. Worse still, you might not even be aware this is how your conversions are being calculated currently. So your view will be slanted and stilted towards the last click if you're using the default settings. For most businesses, the last click model is wrong, and yet, as I say, it's your default setting. Last click then can be a bit of a hidden trap. So on the subject of last click, let's clear up the difference between how analytics and AdWords handle their attribution. Analytics operates on a last non-direct click attribution. This means in simple terms that the last traffic source, excluding direct traffic, gets credited for the conversion. So that's the last traffic source, excluding direct, gets credited for the conversion. When it comes to direct traffic and there's a previous traffic source in the path leading to the conversion, that previous traffic source always gets credit for the conversion. If you have a user that clicked on your paid ad on, say, Sunday, and then on Tuesday they came directly to your site and converted, the attribution would be assigned to AdWords and not necessarily AdWords, it could be a different form of paid traffic. The attribution would be assigned to paid traffic, and both traffic sources would be recorded as if they came from paid. The direct visit is essentially ignored. Direct, then, only gets credit if it's the only traffic source present in a conversion path. This is essentially the last touch attribution model. You might be thinking, but we get lots of direct traffic and it converts too. That's misleading. A good portion of that direct traffic will be from unknown sources, and therefore analytics allocates it to the direct channel. Because, to be honest, it has no other option. And by unknown source, I mean things like the referring website doesn't pass the data to yours and through to analytics because of a fault in the tracking code by design. It could be on purpose that the referral data isn't passed, or because it's a secure site and your destination page isn't. So SSL to non-SSL, the data doesn't get passed. There's also things like traffic from phone apps, which is often seen as direct because apps don't send referral data to the browser on your phone, or at least not data that analytics can understand. And also people delete cookies and switch devices and, of course, browse in private. So those all add up to making direct traffic appear a greater source than it really is. One way to circumvent some of these traffic identification issues is to add an SSL to your website, so make it secure, HTTPS, which for most people is relatively straightforward. Just make sure you redirect all your non-SSL pages to your new SSL pages, because Google classes those as two separate domains, even though it's the same. And to update your website in Webmaster Tools on both Bing and Google too, which will help re-spider. Anyway, I digress. That's SEO, which is not my core discipline. So yeah, as I say, one way to circumvent some tracking issues is SSL. Get that deployed. No reason not to be honest with you. And also to deploy and use UTM tracking codes across links you share on social media, because social media is one of the big problems when it comes to untracked traffic. And it's simply because people use all sorts of tracking codes and this and that and the other, which is for them, but not necessarily helping you. And of course, people use the actual apps such as Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, so on and so forth. And those apps are not sending the juicy tracking data through to you, and you see all this direct traffic. So I'm going to quickly show you how to build a UTM if you don't know already. Very straightforward, and it doesn't impact your auto tagging or any of your other tracking. Unless you put the wrong information into your UTM, of course. So this is a free template tool that Google produces, and you can put your elements in here. So give me a second, I'll just jump over to it.